Hi there, it's time for my second deck building video of the week, and this one is for the new Blade-Coven, the Daughters of Cain warband for Underworlds Beastgrave. And here we are, all ready, loaded up, and ready to rock. So the Blade-Coven, I really didn't know where to start with these guys. So I played against them a couple of times and I thought maybe just kind of try and make them quite aggro, really. They've got two in their leader and Kyrie. They've got two quite strong characters, particularly Kyrie when Kyrie is inspired. And then Camis is just a massive glass cannon with her combo attack. And then the other two, whether you're going to use them or not, I don't know. When they're inspired, they're quite good, so maybe keep them back until the third round. So I decided to try and make quite an aggro deck. So hopefully this fits that, as well as trying to put as much kind of faction cards in there that I could find. So we'll start with the Surge objectives. First one, Branching Fate. When inspired, these are all chucking at least 3 dice. So you score this immediately if you roll 3 or more dice, and they all show a different symbol. So as you'll be able to see from the fighter cards when they load up. Off the bat, Kyrie is doing it. Off the bat, Camis is doing it. Off the bat, these guys, so they're not even inspired actually. So, and then when they are inspired again, it's still 3 dice. So Branching Fate just seemed like a sensible card to put in there. And then What Armor? Score this immediately if a friendly fighter's attack action with Cleave succeeds. We've got Cleave on the boss, and then we've got Cleave on that rather amazing inspired attack of Kyrie. Range 4, 3 hammers with Cleave and Ensnare. It seems like again, quite an obvious choice to put in there, particularly if I'm going to be playing quite offensively. Perfect Kill. Again, score this immediately when a friendly fighter's attack action deals exactly enough damage to take the fighter's target out of action. There's lots of ways of being able to score that with these people. So such a wide range of damage dealing here. So I thought, maybe kind of put that in there. I'm not going to be one-shotting many people with these guys. It is going to be kind of plinking away at that damage. So kind of, I think it's not going to be super easy to score, but I think I'll score it a lot, if that makes sense. It will be down to maybe kind of bullying an opposition character in particular to be able to score that, or just kind of picking my shots in a kind of clever way to be able to do it. Swift Sacrifice, score this immediately when a friendly leader or Kyrie makes a range 1 or range 2 attack action that takes an enemy fighter out of action. Kyrie and Morgwaeth are going to be probably doing most of the killing with Camis. I mean, Camis is such a glass cannon, she's probably only going to get 1 chance to do her attack because she's only on 2 wounds. I think, if she misses, she's probably going to die next turn. But Kyrie and Morgwaeth are going to be killing people quite a lot in the tactics that I'm hoping to use, and so again that makes sense. Hidden Purpose, one of the overpowered cards that has kind of recently been released. Score this immediately after an activation if your warband holds 2 or more objectives. It's a simple card to score. Show of Force. Score this immediately after an activation if 3 or more friendly fighters are in enemy territory, or 1 or more friendly fighters each have 3 or more upgrades. Again, one of those newer cards that seem like an essential card to put into your objective decks now, particularly as I'm going to be playing these people quite aggressively. These 3 in particular are going to be pushing forward, and then hopefully I'm going to be scoring the upgrades. So if I only get 2 of them forward, I am then piling upgrades onto Kyrie, or piling them onto Camis for that big money shot. And then the end phase, digging deep into the end. I've spoken about it in my Orc video. I'm going to keep speaking about it until they do something about it. It's just a card draw is just I don't think you should be scoring glory points off of card drawing. I think you should be scoring it off of killing, off of movement, off of objective handling, off of doing stuff that your warband is programmed to do. I don't think you should be scoring glory off of that. But while it's easy, as I've said before, it's going in. Fired Up. Again, it's a card that I kind of lean on quite a bit. The score there, if you get this in the first round, you have to think. You have to take a long kind of think about whether you need to mulligan. So if you kill someone, you get to choose someone to inspire. So against certain warbands in the first round, it's good. Against others, it's awful. So if it's in your opening hand, you may have to get rid of it. But end game, because of the fact that they all inspire in the third round, is fine. So, but it's one of the cards that I think could potentially change. Opening Gambit, restricted. Score this in an end phase if you scored at least one objective card in the preceding action phase. I think these are all going to be quite easy to score. So Opening Gambit seemed like a sensible choice. It does fill one of my restricted slots. Versatile Fighter, score this in an end phase if the same friendly fighter made both an attack action with a range 1 or 2, an attack action with a range 3 or more in the preceding action phase. With Kyrie, that's something that I can definitely do. I think taking a couple of shots from distance and then maybe getting a charge in sort of at a later point to potentially get a kill or to at least score that card. It sounds like it should be easy, but whether it is or not, I'll have to wait until I playtest that. Path to Victory. I'm quite undecided with this one. Score this in end phase if one or more enemy fighters were taken out of action in your previous phase and your warband holds 2 or more objectives. So there is, as well as holding objectives, there is the card that I mentioned in the Orc deck that I'm playing. Again, this is one that I might change. Depends on kind of play testing how well that works. But Carissa and Latha are gonna sit back and sit on objectives while the other 3 try and do the killing. So that's kind of my theory behind scoring that card. And that's the objectives. 14 glory total. That is quite low, but as pointed out in the comments of my previous video, the way that I'm playing, I'm going to be getting glory for kills, and there are a couple of ways of me being able to kind of boost my glory for kills as well. But they're my objectives. Let us know what you think. Is it a mess or is it a hot mess? What do you think? Which of the two is it? Moving on to the gambits, as you can see, all but one of my gambits have come from the Coven box. If it wasn't for Frenzied Search, it would have been a full house, and I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever done that at all. But let's have a look at those. So the first one, Bloodbane Venom. This just looks like a silly fun card. It's a poison, and after a friendly fighter's successful range 1 or attack, for each crit, the target of that attack action is dealt 1 damage. So that's just that's a great poison and a great way to just shove it through. So particularly when throwing that many dice, getting a crit's quite, it's not guaranteed, but your chances of getting a crit are higher. So I think, that could be a good card to have in there. Carve a Rune, another reaction for crits. So before you deal damage, if there was 1 or more crit in the attack roll, gain an unspent glory point. That's great. You don't even need to kill them. So You just need to succeed, but before you deal the damage, you get a spent glory point. So it's just a way of punching up your glory. Catechism of Murder, inspire somebody, particularly with their mechanic. If you have this in your opening hand and you can inspire Kyrie off the bat, your warband automatically is up to notch, just because of how good Kyrie is. So let's just remind ourselves of that. So she's all right there, like a 4 range 3 sword attack, and then there's the knife attack as well. Like what? Like there's not many, apart from maybe trying to score versatile fighter. There's not many reasons as to why you would do that. 5 move, 2 evades, bit squishy on 3 health, and then when she inspires, her weapons become crazy. 3 hammers, range 4, cleave and ensnare. It is only 1 damage, but if you're 4 or 5 away, you can bully the opposition and just push them back, and then slowly wear them away, and then have Camus or Morgwaeth just kind of charge in and kill something. But she then becomes a target as well, so it's something that you need to deal with. And then Fanatical Faith. The first time a friendly fighter would be dealt any amount of damage in the next activation, that fighter is dealt 1 damage instead. Look at those wounds. Like, that seems like something that you want to have. So someone charging Commiss thinking that they're going to get the kill, and you pull out Fanatical Faith, and then all of a sudden Commiss gets a shot back. I'm all for that. Headlong Fury, this is one of the best cards in the game. Choose 1 inspired friendly fighter. The chosen fighter makes a move action. Do not give the chosen fighter a move token for that action. So if you're sitting at the back of the board with Morgwaeth inspired, you can move that 5 in the power phase, and then you can charge. So then you can technically get from one side of the board to the other, or if you just need to get the hell out of the dodge as well. So it's a mental card. So that's definitely staying in there. Perfect Precision, you can re-roll 1 attack dice in the attack roll of the first attack action made by a friendly fighter in the next activation. So despite chucking 3 dice, most of these people, it is swords, so you're probably going to need the odd re-roll here or there. Zealots Rage, if you do a swing and a miss, you get to play this card and get to attack again. Again, swords aren't the most accurate, so you need that. Frenzied Search, we know why I've put this in here. Discard 1 power card if you do draw up to 3 power cards, just for to the end and digging deep. Glorious Triumph, so in my head, this helps with Path to Victory, and it helps with Hidden Purpose, obviously. So this is when you do a kill and you play this as a reaction, and you're considered to be holding 1 more objective than what you have. And then Quick Search again, for we know why. So I guess kind of looking at those, they're very aggro-centric gambits. No push in there. Whether that does come to kind of bite me in the butt, there's no kind of pushing in there at all. But we'll see. I like what I've got there. It looks like it could make it quite a fun and chaotic game, just with those ploys alone. And now finally moving on to the upgrades. Archer's Focus, anything that helps Kyrie out, gives Kyrie a reroll for a bow attack. Glory Seeker, +1 damage to this fighter's attack actions. Target a fighter with a wounds characteristic of 4 or more. I'm not doing a massive amounts of damage. So, and it's not, Glory Seeker is not range specific either, so I can chuck it on Kyrie. And all of a sudden she's doing 2 damage from 4 away. Potion of Rage, we all know what this is. Add 2 dice. Adding dice to 3 is already kind of helping kind of hammer home some of that damage. Tome of Offerings, restricted slot being taken up there. If this fighter takes an enemy fighter out of action, you gain that extra glory point. I put this in there just because my total glory, if I was to score all of my objectives, is only 14. So I think I need that kind of little bump to help out. Spectral Armour, 2, 2, 2. So when everyone's inspired, they're on 2. It's kind of have to take it really, particularly with how many wounds they will have, just to kind of give them that extra chance of not being wiped off the board. Rapturous Defence, +1 defence for these two, Carissa and Lithian. That's kind of one of the cards that I might take out after kind of play testing, just to see. People might not even care about Carissa and Lytha, because of these three doing all the kind of the aggression and these two just sitting at the back. People might just think, oh fine, just leave them up there, they're not going to do anything. It is something that if I have it in my hand, I'll spend the glory on it. Because once they inspire, if they're still around in the third turn, they're quite nice to have to charge in and have a disruptive attack, because they can potentially kill some dudes. So, yeah, it's just kind of there to maybe try and keep them alive for longer. But again, something that I might have to change after play testing. Rune of Slaughter, +1 damage if you roll a crit, which is nice, again, when you're chucking that many dice. Victor of 1,000 Duels. This is one that I'm, again, after playtesting, I might take out. It's one of these ones where you get a reaction before the drive back step. You can see if you're making an attack. How many times am I not going to get killed from an attack? I don't know. I think it's really only something that you would put on Morgwaeth, so you have to see. Great Strength, again, adding 1 damage is probably vital for these if you do want to play aggro and you do want to kill things. Very good on Lytha and very good on Commiss. So technically, with Commiss, you could do 5 damage. You can well, it's happened in a game when I've played against these as the orcs, and Commiss has managed to wipe out an orc. When inspired, that's 6 damage, which you can turn into a killing machine. Lytha as well, if the attack roll includes 2 or more successes, and this attack action succeeds, receive the deal damage step twice. So you don't deal 4 damage, you deal 2 and 2. So I think this is in case there's any reactions that can be played. But then Warden Companion, when this fighter is target for an attack action, they're considered to have 1 more supporting fighter than they do. I think that's a really good card for anyone that has 2 defense dice in particular. So that's why I have taken that one. But let me know what you think. And in this kind of day and age, it feels weird to have to put together a warband that is just purely aggro, particularly when your warband is as kind of fragile as these 5 are. But let me know what you think. Would you have picked any of these? Have I missed a trick at all by not having any kind of push mechanics in my ploys? We'll see. I'm gonna play. I've probably got time to kind of sneak in a couple of games, so I will go away, play those, come back, and let you know what I think. So I've played a few games with these guys now, and these gals now, and yeah, it's apparent that I need to make a few changes to this deck. It's still very much going to be a work in process going forward, but they're really fun to play, which is kind of why we play games, isn't it? For a game I played, a bit of cheating, I played this deck yesterday, and with one game and got an absolute hiding to nothing against a really strong Stormsize deck. I mean, Stormsize are going to do well against any kind of low wound count models with all their spells and things like that. So that was going to be a tough game. And then I had two really good games against Stormcast. Kyrie, loving the fact that she has cleave when she's inspired against those guys. And both games came down to kind of Hail Mary attacks. They were really close up until the very end, where he managed to score his end game goals, which was the Avatar and tomes, or tomes on their own in the second game. So they can hold their own against people, but you do need to make sure you kill everyone, or at least kill people that are holding those kind of score more objectives at the end. What I feel the deck was probably missing, had some pointers from my opponent as well. There is missing some kind of push in there. Maybe if I can get Pit Trap in there as well to kind of hammer home the damage for potentially killing people. So both times, in both games when I went after Steelheart, he ended up on 1 wound. If I'd had a push, I could have pushed him into lethal hex. So, you know, it is what it is, but there's definitely something to look at there to kind of change the ploys around. With the upgrades, I'm going to take Swift Sacrifice out. I want to maybe put Cover Ground in there, and I want to take Victor of 1,000 Jewels out. I don't really see that getting much, so I'm going to put some more movement kind of upgrades in there and try and squeeze in Spectral Wings and kind of take it from there again. But what would you do? How would you change this deck? Bearing in mind I want to be quite aggro, what kind of things would you recommend? But let me know how you've been getting on with the Blade-Coven yourself in the comments. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for the next video on Friday, where it's got a really nice Gits deck for everyone. Cheers.